Hello, everybody.
We are two as one,
I'm Andres.
and I'm Karin. So today our topic is going to be something that is unbelievably painful and uncomfortable, and yet it happens all of the time, and it's something that is entirely preventable. We're going to give you 6 red flags for cheating. The 6 red flags is both something that you can take a look at if you are on the end where you think that maybe your partner could be the one who's the cheater. It's also something to take a look at if you're the one who could potentially be the one stepping out of the relationship. And as you were asking me just before when we were talking about this, having lunch at the park, which was lovely. I wanted to do the video there, but we didn't have my phone and we didn't have all the things. What was your
Yeah.
question?
Well, I don't remember the question. What was the question?
Do you think that everybody has the ability to cheat?
Oh, well. Yes, I ask you if is a potential cheater in every person.
Yeah,
That was the question.
yeah,
So it's a difficult topic for me because I lost my first marriage because of it, and the consequences of cheating are tremendous.
very much so.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's something that you may don't think when you are doing,
yeah,
but it's extremely painful, especially when you have kids.
yeah. And so, therefore, the whole purpose for this is I'm always about prevention. If we can prevent, then then we can save ourselves and the people around us, because it was not just painful for you, it was also painful for your kids and probably your first wife and extended family to have everybody go through this.
Yeah, definitely was painful for my mom as well. Obviously, for the kids, it's something that we still dealing with. Uh, as I said, the consequences are very difficult.
How many years later?
Well, that was 20 years later.
Yeah,
We're still
20 years.
yep,
Yeah, of pain and suffering. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
funny.
No, 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 no. And I've been on the receiving end of that too, and so it is something that you can get beyond. And there are even couples that I work with who I've seen both. I've seen couples that come here and they're trying to repair from a relationship, from an affair, and it didn't work. And there's a reason for that. We'll get to that. And then I've seen couples where it did work. Their relationship was here, there was an affair, and because they both did what needed to be done in order to repair the relationship, their relationship got up here, right? So it's like 2.0 relationship, right?
It's interesting as you mentioned. I remember I told my first wife, if we can deal with this situation, if we can get over, we're gonna get stronger. Unfortunately, we didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't do the work that I was supposed to do it. I didn't know it in that time. So don't let the ignorance play against you.
Yeah,
It's not an excuse.
right, right.
Yeah, no.
And here's the thing: is that that is one of the signs of somebody. One of the red flags is emotional immaturity, lack of the ability to take a look at yourself, and because in everything in life, we really need to be able to step out. I can step out of myself and I can take a look at what am I thinking? What are the thoughts? What's the stories that I'm telling myself? How am I reacting to things, going on right here and now? And then as an observer of myself. And we all really need to be able to have to create this observer of self so that we can correct the things that, with the way that we think, the way that we behave, the way we show up in the world. And if you don't have that observer, which is what happens when we're immature. We've all been immature. We started from nothing, so we all have that, but we need to develop it if we want to develop quality relationships.
It's really powerful that you mentioned before is it's about prevention. Prevent about the things that you are planning, how your thoughts are going, and work on that before it comes a fruition of the action.
Right. Yeah. And one of the flags is to be self-centered, and some people even to the point of being a narcissist. So, so it's all about me. I need to have my needs taken care of, not really concerned about you and what you need. Because if you haven't taken care of me, then I'm just gonna go find it somewhere else. If you haven't taken care of my emotional needs, I'm going to go talk to this person. If you haven't taken care of my sexual needs in the bedroom, then I'm going to go out here and I'm going to find something, And so there's not a whole lot of concern for your.
I believe is the cheating situation is the sexual involvement with somebody else. It's part, but it's not the beginning because it begins with a conversation with someone who's open to listen, and then you start to develop those kind of feelings, and one thing take to the other. But I don't think it's go straight to the sexual situation. It's oh, this it seems like it's someone is interested in what I think, the things that is happening to me. That's the beginning of it, which
Yeah,
is dangerous.
yeah, yeah. And which is why we need to develop that emotional openness and vulnerability and listening to each other in the relationship. So when you and I have that, then you're not likely to go out and find that somewhere else because we have it. And that is not to say that, let's say that, let's just, say I was the one that went out and I'm the one that's potentially going out and cheating. So that doesn't make it your fault that I go out and cheat. It's entirely my fault. And that's the one thing that it's entirely the person who is stepping out their thing. Because we always have the ability that if we're not liking what's going on in the relationship, one, start working on it. Two, uh, look up a therapist, the marriage and family care therapist to work with. Three, do your own work in order to get you to a place where you have more wherewithal to give put into the relationship. So and if none of that works, then you can break up and then you can go off and do whatever it is that you want to do, right? So
Yeah, and in my case, I thought, just the fact that you recognize that you made a mistake, but you didn't put the work on it, the effort to find the root of the action. What happened? What was the the failure that makes me do that, and didn't work. Didn't work. If you don't put the effort to fix it, it's not gonna happen.
yeah, I've seen time and again couples come in where that was a thing, and the person who stepped out, just wants to say, I'm sorry. It was didn't mean anything. It was just physical, this, that, and the other. That is just more salt in the wound for the person who's on the receiving, who's been betrayed. It is unbelievably painful, and so yeah, it requires soul searching and reading up on things, going to maybe groups, going to therapy, journaling, self reflecting, and showing up and being entirely transparent and with your spouse. What you say is what you do. What you do is what you say. Everything lines up, and be open and willing to answer any and all questions that the your partner has, because there are going to be a lot of questions and you're not going to want to answer them. You just want to think it's done, it's in the past, I said sorry, so just get over it. That does not work. So yeah, which there we go with another one is placing yourself in compromising situations. So so let's say, you're at a work thing, maybe you're traveling for work, and after you've done your work, everybody's going to the bar having some drinks. If you're the one that kind that does the drugs, putting yourself in situations where you're don't have your whole brain with you, and you're exposing yourself to places and situations that are more likely to make you make decisions that aren't going to go well. Um, it's like going out with the guys, me going out with the girls, and we don't just go to somebody's home and go out for coffee, whatever. No, we're going to the bar and we're drinking and dancing, and I'm going to leave you at home, and I'm going out every Friday, doing that with the girls, and they're all single, and so that is putting myself in a situation that could be compromising.
It's a risky situation.
Hmm.
um, I believe at some point you need to put in balance what's the priority, my marriage or my friendship with my circle of friends. And sometimes you need to take that decisions and move on and try to find the people that is more alike you, and you growing in life, and your relationship and your marriage. um, the circle where you are involved is very important in order to stay away from risky situations.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that you can't go out with guys or with girls and go to a bar. It's a matter of, oh, what is the mindset when you go out? Is it every weekend, or, multiple times a month? Or is it every once in a while and you're going out with people who are really we're just wanting to hang out and, have a glass of wine or two and talk, and we're not interested in trying to flirt with people and whatnot. Those are two very, very, very different situations, right? So we're not telling you you can't have your guy friends or your girlfriends. That is not what that is about. It's again about how are they showing up? Are they looking to fool around and flirt and that type of thing, or are you going out with your friend because, I really miss talking to you. I love talking to you. You're my best friend, and so good to take some time out for
Yeah.
us to do that. Different story altogether. Um, so another one is spending more and more time with a coworker, somebody you brought up a situation in the beginning of how, oh, we have a project together, and wow, you're such a great listener. I really enjoy hanging out with you. And then we start having, hey, can you have lunch? Are you available for lunch today? And then we have lunch together. And then it might develop into, hey, you want to meet at the coffee place afterwards? We can have a after work snack, and we're starting to talk more and more about what's going on. Maybe I'm starting to bring up, it's like, oh yeah, my husband, he was a real pain in the rear today, and whatever. And now we're nurturing that relationship with this coworker that I'm probably starting to have some feelings for. And
Yeah. It's important here. Be honest with you. You know your weakness, and stay away if you are not strong enough. If you put yourself in a situation that you may think it's risky for you, for your marriage, just don't take a chance. Don't take chances.
mm, yeah, I like what you were saying about being honest with yourself, because would if you would really be honest, if all of us were to be honest with ourselves, we know when we're starting to step over a line, when it's starting to get a little blurry, and which goes into this next one, which is normalizing keeping secrets. And, and this particular one was specifically about sexual secrets, but I think it's normalizing any secrets. So maybe, when you start to have to hide your phone, that's another big one. Big, big, big one is the phone, because we do a lot of interactions on the phone, right? So if if I'm starting to, when you're coming up to me and I'm looking at my phone, I turn my phone away. Like, well, that's a little suspicious. What am I trying to hide, right? Um, and so I'm starting to have something that I don't want you to see. And if we're in a marriage, then there shouldn't be anything that I don't want you to see, and vice versa. I know the code for your phone, you know the code for mine. We grab each other's phones, like, oh, whichever one's closest, no biggie. And that definitely is a huge sense of security that um, there's nothing to worry about here. It is a healthy thing in a relationship. Uh, Neither one of us is digging through each other's phones looking for stuff, but there's the whole reaction of when somebody else takes your phone, because that phone holds a lot of information. Who are you talking to? Who are you sending pictures to? What kind of pictures are you sending? What kind of social media are you going on? What are you looking at on social media? uh, and another one is porn, which is a big thing. And porn can have a lot of negative effects on the person who's watching, on the relationship, because the person who's watching it, one, it becomes addictive for a lot of people, and two, it warps the mind with regards to what is normal sexual encounters, and three, I've worked with one person who, where they said that they realized that it was affecting their performance. They were worried about their own performance with the partner, and where I've heard the partners talk about how it makes them feel more self-aware of their bodies, because they know they don't look anything like the women in the videos, in the porn videos. And it also feels like a form of cheating. So if you're hiding that from your partner, anything that you're hiding from your partner means that there's something you're doing that your partner probably wouldn't like.
That's it. Everything that is not that transparent with your partner, it's a is a red flag. And I was listening this, and the person who was talking was a long time ago. He says, image of porn could be storage in your head for more than 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. Well, images, it's the same thing. It's almost like a traumatic image is stored and very lively, and that, which is another reason why I do not watch horror, because again, I do not want to give that space in my head, because those things come up if I'm alone and it's dark, or if I'm going out somewhere, right? So what will the porn do? It's going to come up anytime that you see a woman, you hear a sound, you're trying to be intimate with your partner, those kinds of things. And if you're alone, you're feeling lonely, you're feeling frisky, and all these things. And so and then there's a whole other side, which always is one of the first things that come up for me, is that there's a lot of human trafficking. And I think a lot of people think that a lot of these people who are in these videos, they're adults and they signed up for it, they're getting paid for it and whatnot. I can tell you, and I can assure you, probably 99 to 95, 99% of these people, they've been sexually abused, they've been groomed, and they are probably also being trafficked. So by participating in that, you are participating in human trafficking. I'm just going to put that out there. So
Yeah, it's a very dark world
very dark, very dark.
behind the scenes.
Yeah, yeah. um So another one is immaturity and lack of commitment to the relationship, and that makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, as probably a lot of What's going on with you? You were young, very young.
I was young, yeah.
Very young.
So it's at the end is my fault. I'm gonna put this on anybody else, but the circle, my circle work, cheating was a normal thing. Every single person in that environment used to do that, and at some point that becomes the normal. As
Yep.
I said, I'm not blame my situation to anybody.
Right.
I'm responsible for what I did and for the consequences as well. But that's what I said, that the circle, the people that you are surrounding yourself is very, very important.
Very much so. I mean, if you may have heard the saying of, "You are like the five people that you spend the most time with," and that's a fact. Socially, emotionally, financially, uh, mentally, all the things.
True.
Here's a perfect example because
Yeah.
it's normalized. Like, oh, well, everybody does it, and after a while, that's why you have to really be careful with what are you feeding. Not just what you're feeding yourself with food through your mouth. What are the information that you're reading, seeing, watching? Which is again where the horror comes in, the horror movies, the porn, those kinds of things. If those are the things that you're feeding yourself over time, it becomes normalized. So, what is it that you want to have normalized in your mind? Because it's going to affect you. And it can be very subtle ways that it affects you. So, you really want to be intentional about what is it that you're feeding yourself with, which includes the people that you spend time with. Of course, now this was work, so but
And I was in a situation that, I used to live with in that place. As a police officer in Ecuador, I was far away from home, so we used to live in the headquarters. So we share a lot of time together.
yeah, you were living with them. It's like a fire engine on steroids. They're together 48 hours at a time, and you're together
Yeah,
24 hours a day.
that was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So, and the last one, but not least, as always, is having years of stored up and unresolved conflict in the relationship. Yeah. So, just never overcoming and coming to resolution with something, with issues in the relationship, and that can just build to the point where there you don't even have to, you don't have to be arguing. There doesn't have to be any of that. There can just be that whole that where you become almost emotionally dead to the other person, and and at the same time can also be a lot of resentment that is built up, and you just feel more like roommates running the business of a household, right? Taking care of the kids, paying the bills, going to work, doing the chores, all that, um, and and just get caught up in that hamster wheel. And after a while, um,
You got disconnected.
yeah, 100%.
You just let the life take over.
Mm-hmm. Yep, yeah. So it is important to be able to sometimes there are certain things that are just not going to be resolved, but then you have to figure out, well, maybe we have different political opinions, or whatever kinds of things, different religions or certain things. However, then it is important for us to be able to figure out a way around that. How do we work around the fact that we have different ways of doing this or thinking about that? And without doing that, that's where it just becomes this unsurmountable barrier. And it's just a matter of time. Maybe you're staying together for financial reasons, or because of the kids, or because you're afraid of being alone, or you never don't think you find anybody else. A lot of different things.
Yep.
Mm. So there you have it. Those are the 6 different ways that you can look for. flags of potentially having cheating in your relationship, which is also um, some of the things which we threw in as we were going along. What are some of the things you can do to prevent it, right? So a lot of it again is to find, develop that observer of self, observe what are the things that you're thinking to yourself, how are you justifying things that you do, the choices that you make, how were you thinking about your spouse, um, what are the things that you are talking about, what are my needs, what are my spouse's needs, um, what are maybe some things that I'm bringing into the relationship that came before uh, we ever got together that may come up and cause problems between us, because that's stuff that I have to take care of, that I need to go read books, listen to the podcast, do the journaling, maybe get, find a therapist that can work, I can work with to resolve these things. And when I work with couples, I do a lot of just that, taking each individual, doing some individual work with them, oftentimes using EMDR, my beloved EMDR, which is like rewiring the brain in a beautiful way to absolve those things that are stuck, those images and those events that are stuck and continue to cause problems in the here and now.
I love it. If you want to know more about what the EMDR can do for you, just don't hesitate to send a message and ask about it. It's a beautiful tool that can help a
It,
lot.
yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, and then because once we roll those boulders out of the way, all of my personal stuff and your personal stuff, and now, okay, now we don't have those trigger hot buttons that get in the way of the work for us to do together. So, definitely highly recommend it, because a healthy, strong marriage is, I can't recommend it more. It's beautiful, and we know that from statistics that people who are in healthy married relationships, they have better health, they live longer, they have less stress. Um, of course, they're better off financially because you have two incomes rather than one. And yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it was a painful episode for myself because seeing the things that I learned in all this time and seeing what happened in my past makes me feel it's painful. Yeah, not funny.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where we can't go back and undo, but we certainly can continue. Uh, take a look at ourselves and continue to step forward uh, with the knowledge and learning that we have, and that's all we can do. That's all anyone can ask for.
That's correct. It's nothing that we can do for the past, but we can change the future and the now.
Yes. Let us know, what are some of your thoughts. Maybe you have other signs that you have seen and experienced. What are some things that you have done to overcome, which that could be a follow up, things that you can do to overcome if
That's
you've been in
interesting
that.
to
Yeah.
know
Mm,
how you can move forward as a couple and get a stronger marriage after.
definitely. That could be a topic for next time. So yeah, and of course, always like, subscribe, comment, share with anybody that you feel could benefit from this. And other than that, go out and shine your beautiful inner lights.
Thank you so much.
See you next time.
See ya.